What is that? And there's something making a noise that's driving me insane. What is it? There's something rolling around and making stupid noise. What is it? Is it some... It's the stupid pen. The stupid pen. Today I'm driving the Maserati Levante, Maserati's SUV. This car is called the Maserati Levante. As with all Maseratis, it's named after a wind. So the Levante in this case, some wind down in Italy. But I think this car should have been called the 4x4. Because Maserati makes a four-door car that they call the Quattroporte, the four-door. And now they also make a second four-door car, so the Quattroporte doesn't make that much sense to be called four-door. But this is the only SUV they make. It's actually the SUV they have ever made, so why not call it the Maserati 4x4, the 4x4, or the Maserati Fuoristrada, which means Maserati off-roader, even though basically this is not an off-roader. Or they could have called it the Maserati SUV, but yeah, that would have been a bit on the nose, even for Maserati. But no, they choose to call this car the Levante. There's the base model, the Levante, which has 350 horsepower. Then there's the Levante S, which I'm driving now, which has 430 horsepower. And then there's the Levante GTS with 530 horsepower. And there's also the Levante Trofeo with 580 horsepower. There are also some diesel versions. I think one with 275 horsepower, and then there's a version for the Italian market which has 250 horsepower for some odd tax reason. Anyway, this is the Levante S, 3 liter twin turbo, 430 horsepower, 580 Newton meters of torque. Maserati claims 5.7 seconds from 0 to 100, which, yeah, I mean, it's 430 horsepower, it should do it in this time, but this is a heavy car. This car in fact weighs 2,375 kilograms. This is actually almost 200 kilos heavier than the Maserati Quattroporte I drove recently with the very same engine. Therefore, performance is probably not gonna be that sparkly. Anyway, let's check it out. Let's put it into sport mode, suspension into sport mode, and let's see if this big old girl can handle. The Levante has Maserati's Q4 all-wheel drive system, which usually gives all the power to the rear wheels, and once the rear wheels lose traction, it transfers up to 50% of the torque to the front wheels. It takes about 150 milliseconds, so it's really, really fast. The car also has a limited slip rear differential, which helps with traction. And actually, despite the weight, despite everything, this is not a car that struggles for traction. Yeah, it is really heavy though. Ah! Ah! Driving down a hill like I'm doing now is kind of scary with the Levante. Not because the car handles badly, but because the car is incredibly heavy. 2,375 kilograms. That's a lot. The Levante, of course, has an active exhaust, which means when you put it into sport mode, it opens the flaps and then the car sounds really, really nice. If you don't want it, you just take it out of sport mode and the car quietens down, which is a good thing because this is basically supposed to be a luxury SUV. And as a luxury SUV, you don't want it to be always noisy, always annoying. I think the car looks nice. It looks quite distinctive. There's not many other SUVs that look like it. It certainly looks like a Maserati, which I think is a positive thing. It also sounds like a Maserati, which is even more positive. And even the interior, I think it's nicely made. It uses nice material, there's leather everywhere. The wood is particularly nice in this car I'm driving here. It's kind of a nice place to be. The Levante S is available in 2 trim levels, which both cost the same. It's just a matter of choice which one you prefer. One is the Grand Sport, which is more sporty. It has sport seats, it has some more carbon fiber in the cockpit. And the other one, the one I'm driving here, is the Gran Lusso, which is the Grand Luxury version. The special thing about the Gran Lusso is the fabric used in the interior, on the seats, on the headliner, even on the sun visors. It's not just any old fabric, but it's actually silk, made by Italian fashion house Ermenegildo Zegna, which usually produces, suits for 3,000-4,000 francs, and in this case they made some material for the Maserati Levante. Of course, Maserati exchanged a favor, and this is why Ermenegildo Zegna also makes Maserati shoes. Yes, for only 1,000 Swiss francs you can buy these nice Maserati shoes. So yeah, that's an interesting partnership. But I think it wants to highlight that, yeah, the Levante is a luxury car, it's posh, it's very chic, and yeah, I mean, why not? Personally, I prefer all leather, but then again, I'm not the most fashion conscious person in the world, obviously. But as a luxury car, the Levante, I think it's not as comfortable as I would like it, because the car is more focused on driving dynamics, which means it's harder, it's harsher than it should be. In this case, with a 430 horsepower engine, the car is not exactly a performance beast given how heavy it is. So I would like to see it more geared towards luxury, and I don't think it helps that this car has optional 21-inch rims. Standard is 19 on the Levante S. I think there you lose some comfort. And speaking about options, this car has a base price of 115,000 Swiss francs, give or take. And the car I'm driving now has a few options, making it cost 134,000 Swiss francs. So it's got about 20,000 Swiss francs in options. That includes the driver assistance packages. It has adaptive cruise control. It has a highway mode, which helps you stay in line. And it has a blind spot monitoring. It's pretty much up to date with the assistance features. It also has a fairly modern infotainment system, which has all the connections you want. You connect your iPhone, your Android, whatever you want, it just works. Plus, this car also has a few other features, such as the soft closing doors, because obviously you need that. The car has a sport steering wheel, which is slightly different to the not sport steering wheel, but then again, you gotta have it. Also, this car has the high premium Bowers & Wilkins sound system. And yes, I said high premium because there are actually 2 option sound systems on this car. One is the, I don't know who makes that. It must be a lesser brand, I mean. One is the Harman Kardon premium sound system, and the other one, the more expensive one, is the Bowers & Wilkins high premium stereo system. I don't know if the base car comes with any stereo system, given you got 2 upgrade options, but yeah, if you really are into this thing, the Bowers & Wilkins sound system sounds okay. Sounds actually pretty good. The car, of course, has different driving modes. One being ICE, which is increased efficiency, which is sort of the energy saving mode, and also the mode to drive on ice and stuff, because it says ice basically. Ice mode. Then there's the normal mode, there's the sport mode, of course, because this is a Maserati, and then there is off-road. It also has a hill descent control, because this is an SUV, and of course when you take your Maserati Levante off-roading, you do want hill descent control. I don't think many of the people who buy this car will actually go off-roading with it, but hey, it's nice to know you have it just in case. like all current Maseratis, this car has the ZF8 Speed Automatic. It's great. It's quick, it's smooth, yeah, doesn't leave much to be desired. Good thing about the transmission, when you're in manual mode, the car will rev into the rev limiter, it will not shift up automatically. That's good. The Levante actually performs quite admirably for such a very, very heavy car. I mean, you can have fun with the car, but I wouldn't exactly call it, a really fun, nice handling car, because it's difficult in an SUV, especially difficult in such a heavy SUV. So yeah, if you want a car that handles well, you don't get a Levante. If you want an SUV that handles well, you probably don't get the Levante either. There are, I think, better cars on the market. One of my favorite handling SUV, for example, is the Alfa Stelvio Quadrifoglio, which is cheaper than a Levante, handles much better, more fun, faster, but slightly smaller and, less premium, and you don't get Zegna silk all over the car. So what is my final impression of the Maserati Levante S? Well, it's obviously a nice car because it's a 134,000 Swiss franc car, so it better be nice. It has this odd silk interior, which is different, but for me the Levante is a bit too much of a mixed bag because it's not as comfortable as I would like in such a luxurious car, but at the same time it's not sporty enough. The driving experience is not great enough to justify the car being harsh and not super comfortable, so it's kind of stuck between two seats. Also, with the 430 horsepower engine, it's not really that fast. I mean, sure, it's not a slow car, but it will never wow you with the performance because it just doesn't have that much performance. It's a very, very heavy car, and that weight basically destroys the whole car. Even on a curvy road like this, if I were to hit the gas a bit harder, then I would have to fight the car, wanting to understeer. Yeah, it's just not that great of a driving experience. Of course, there's the looks. Maybe you just like the way the Levante looks, then good, get a Levante if you have the cash. The Levante as a diesel starts at 86,000 Swiss francs. This Levante S twin turbo V6 petrol engine will start at 114,000 Swiss francs. So it's a nice bit more expensive with a bit of options. Like this car, you get 134,000 Swiss francs, making it, quite expensive. I mean, this is a luxury SUV, it's up there in price. However, this is also a Maserati. So you can basically pick up 2-year-old Levante with, 30, maybe 40,000 kilometers on the clock for 60,000 Swiss francs. So you can basically save 50% if you get a used one. Sure, I mean, all used cars lose value, but I think Maserati is a bit special in this regard. And as a used car, this thing kind of makes more sense. I would personally still go for the faster version, for the V8 version with 530 or 580 horsepower, because at least that thing will be exciting and silly. This thing is a bit more sensible. It's a bit more of a compromise in many different ways, which, yeah, it's a fine car, but I don't want to spend 130,000 Swiss francs on a fine car. So, yeah. You see, I'm a bit perplexed about the car. It's a car Maserati clearly had to make, because today you need to make SUVs if you want to make any money. But it's definitely not a car that services the driving enthusiasts. This is really a car they made because they had to make SUVs. So what do you think of the Maserati Levante? Is it an interesting car? Is it a car Maserati shouldn't have made in the first place? Do you want one? Let me know in the comments down below. And please like this video if you liked it, of course. Otherwise, give it a thumbs down. It's okay. And hey, if you wanna see more videos, let me know in the comments. Subscribe to my channel, and maybe I get around to do some more. Thank you for watching.